one of the benefits we have is that when people move from a venue that's using Creventa to somewhere else, one of the things they'll do is to say, you need to be using Creventa.
Welcome everyone. My guest today is Luke Ireland, co-founder and CEO of Creventa. Welcome to the show, Luke. It's great to have you here today.
Nice to be here, Keith. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me on.
So for those of you who don't know what the company does yet, what is Creventa? How does it work? What kind of companies do you help? Go for it.
Great. Well, first of all, we're a white label solution, so lots of people have used us and don't know that they've used us. We're an event management platform, so end-to-end event management platform, from inquiries, ticketing, pre-orders for food and drink, allergen management, seating plans, basically anything you need to manage an event. So typical customers are hotels, but we also have football stadiums and other clients like that. But typical customers are hotels, 80% of our clients are hotels. And it could be for a wedding, corporate event, just taking away all the admin out of the equation. So we typically save 6 hours per event on admin time, reduce costs and increase sales. That's the three things that we do.
That's amazing. So what first drew you into the hospitality tech space in the beginning? Was it the background in software, or did you spot something missing in the industry?
So my business partner, co-founder Andrew, he's been in hospitality for 25 years, I think. He ran his own restaurant, events-based restaurant in Oxford for about 18 years. And we worked together on a similar project. It was very, very basic, bits of plastic and string held together software many years ago. And then that was about 12, 13 years ago. And then we were friends, so we kept in touch. And during the pandemic, we started doing some QR code order at table service, because we thought that was great, really good for us during the pandemic actually. But coming out of the pandemic, it's a very competitive market and actually doesn't really suit the British culture. We still have some clients who use it for big events. And then we moved back into the event software space that Andrew knew from running his venue, that there was not really a good solution out there. So we built on what we played with many years ago, and we've got a really tight, great platform that does a lot of things on event management.
That's awesome. You've mentioned that most hospitality software is a bit outdated, sometimes a bit clunky. So what were the biggest pain points that you wanted to fix when you first launched this business?
Right. So, first of all, customer service and support. We really major on that, and we're very focused on serving the client and making sure that their business runs properly. We've got, I hear stories about competitors, and certainly the hospitality industry, who don't work weekends, and when that's the busiest time for hospitality and all those things. So we always class ourselves as hospitality people, Andrew because he's worked in it all his life, and me because I've worked around him for quite a few years. Hospitality people who are into technology and can get technology to work, rather than a technology company looking to take advantage of a sector which, quite frankly, needs all the help it can get.
Yeah, that's quite kind of crucial, isn't it, really? Because you've obviously, your heart and soul is in that industry, and you know what it requires. And so that having that piece, hospitality first, is, I think, really, really important. And you mentioned before about you starting with QR ordering at the tables, and so you then shifted into this event management space. So what triggered that pivot, and what was the right direction?
Obviously when it was enforced by law, people had to do something, had to have table service. And we still have some clients that use it, don't get me wrong, but it only suits certain venues. It suits Wetherspoons, because it's a really high volume pub. It's busy 8 a.m, 7 a.m. till whenever it closes. It doesn't suit small pubs. It doesn't suit restaurants really. And we just saw there were some big competitors, and it requires loads of integration to EPOS systems and stuff. It's just very complicated. And it was just a space for us. We're like, that's just going to be dominated by two things. The customers don't really want to use it most of the time. And secondly, there's a lot of people with a lot of money who have turned out to have lost a lot of money in that sector. So we made the right choice. And we know events really well. So I've been doing, technology, but also doing, personally speaking, event management type stuff for about 20 years. And Andrew, obviously, from the hospitality industry, he's in that sector. So we know it really well. He ran an event, as I mentioned, an events venue that was actually Frank Cooper's old marmalade factory, so in Oxford. So
really?
lots and it was a listed building, so lots of different rooms. So really suited events really well. So it was just a natural fit for us, and we knew there's no one else doing what we're doing. Really, there's people do bits of what we do, but no one does everything we do for sure in one platform. Typically, most hospitality venues are looking to reduce the number of systems that they've got. They've all got too many systems. That's where we come in, because we typically take out 2 or 3 systems that they've got, whether they be Excel, post-it notes, spreadsheets, or whether that's actual proper systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And previously, I know when we spoke before, you said your biggest challenge is getting the attention of busy venue managers who already think their systems work. What's actually working to break that barrier for you right now?
We've got a cold calling team that we use. There's an agency that we used to have people doing it in house, but it's not a great. No one likes doing it really. And anyone who's good at it wants really good at it wants to do something different in 6 months after starting it. So we have an agency that have great. They rotate staff. They do all sorts of really good things to retain their people. And they're just, we give them a target list of customers, and we say, look, we want to get into see these people, and they're very good at disarming the people on the phone and getting that lead process, or that pipeline process started. It is very difficult, because hospitality is a deal with what's in front of you industry. The guests are there, you've got to fix the problem. You have a really bit chaotic event, and then you think, okay, well, I'm not going to change anything, move on to the next one, right? But what we do see, we see more and more people looking to reduce cost and improve efficiency. So it's playing into our hands pretty well.
And I like how you described before about your system helping staff focus on guests instead of admin. So can you share a real world example of where automation has made a big difference for a client?
Yeah, sure. So the classic example would be place card generation. Anyone who works in hospitality events will, at some point in their life, and this resonates really well with clients during demos, will have hand-typed or handwritten several thousand place cards, but several hundred place cards for a typical event, and there'll have been a change. Sometimes it get people almost in tears on a demo, on a training call, because the manager selects it, or the boss selects the product, and you get a training call with the actual users. Well, I don't have to do that ever again. And they're quite emotional about it, because it's a thankless task. It's boring, mundane. No one wants to do it, but you've got to do it. Yeah. So that's and that's similar to collecting allergen information safely, which is also a difficult thing that we manage perfectly for the collecting guest orders. Even not just the venue, but if you're say you're getting married, orders and all their allergens, and you've got to do it as well as. We're doing a wedding with a client yesterday who's getting married on the 29th of December. Very brave. I think Christmas time, they're incredibly stressed, as you might imagine. And we've saved them so much time. All my guests order themselves. Any allergens they've got just get taken care of. So it's not just venue stuff. It's also clients. They're their clients that see benefit from the system as well.
Yeah, amazing. And in terms of your team dynamics, I personally had projects where I've worked with friends, sometimes family, and it's a difficult thing to manage sometimes. So you and your co-founder have known each other for years and you're good friends. So how do you manage to divide responsibilities and keep things aligned as the company scales up?
Yeah, it was straightforward. So Andrew looks after products. He looks after what the product roadmap's going to be, how the user interface is going to look. Not designing. He's an artist, so designing it a bit, and then sales, because both he and I do sales, because founders doing sales is the most important thing. And then I look after manage our development team. I manage obviously our finance, everything that. So we both do sales, and then Andrew does products, and then I look after everything else, because it's just the way it is. He's really good at doing it. He does a lot more sales demos than I do, that's for sure, because that's one of his main functions, as well as products.
Amazing.
And we just very honest with each other. So if there's a problem, we'll just and if one of the other thinks that there's something's not quite right, we'll just say it. It's why we act.
That's the way to be transparent, for sure.
Correct.
Obviously you're a tech-focused company, with AI now being a massive, world-changing thing that's coming and is here, and it is changing the world we live in right now. So how is AI changing the way you develop and deliver your products at the moment?
Well, we use it in development. Certainly, as our development team and software engineering team use AI tools as part of that system. In terms of guest and venue interaction, we do have some AI functionality coming out in 2026. But we'd be very careful to make sure it actually makes sense, because we had an idea. We can auto generate, menu descriptions, but they don't want that. So they got their own menu descriptions that they're quite. So there's some interesting stuff we're doing next year where we see that it will really benefit their guest, their customer, rather than the venue itself, because what we're doing is really automating stuff anyway. So that the actual venue interaction with the system is it's lightweight. That's the whole point of touch, because it should be pushing it out to their hosts and guests. So it's mainly on their guest facing side that we're going to do some work next year.
And then looking ahead, the next sort of 12, 18 months, you mentioned plans to expand into Australia after growing in the UK. So what's the most exciting, or I suppose the most challenging part about that aspect?
The most challenging part about growing to the US is you need a lot of money to do it. So that's our next raise. Our next raise will be around that market. Australia's a little bit easier from that point of view. But yeah, and then clearly you need people in market. You can't run a US sales team based out of the UK. So we're hiring people that we don't know. We know. All the people that work for us, we're like a family. We know some we know for a long time, some which we're not, but we have that atmosphere going on. And when you've got a big time difference, it could be 5 or 6 hours. Yeah. It's difficult to get that thing going. We don't get together very often in the UK, to be fair. So we should do more often, but we don't. We just don't have time to do it. But it just works because we do it often enough that we can get on with each other on Teams calls rather than having to work in an office. So that'll be the challenge. And I've managed US-based sales teams, so I know the challenges around it. But it's just until getting the right person. That's going to be a challenge when we go into that market, for sure. Yeah.
And if you could wave a magic wand at the business right now to help automate something that could just make your life a whole lot easier, what would that be at the moment, do you
think? We do automate a lot of stuff, I have to say. So, we do use AI and other automation tools as part of our sales process, which is our most complicated process. I think, it's always just how do we get in front of more people? Because the conversion rate's really high when we do actually get in front of someone. It's that frustration, as we were talking prior to the call about people who've moan that you say, well, why didn't you try hard to get hold of us? We didn't try, rang you 60 times. I mean, we do want to become the stalker. Thank you very much. So but then, it's great. We know that. It's fancy. It's going to save so much time. Yeah, we know.
Trying to tell you.
It's good, but it's great. We have some big customers now. So, we've got every major hotel chain that operates in the UK that does events is using our system. We've got football clubs, we've got cricket clubs, we've got independent hotels, chain hotels, we've got some restaurants, we've got some pub customers. Despite the fact that we really focused on hotels for a while, we still picked up all these other people, and we focused on football stadiums and won quite a significant number of those as well. And it's I think one of the benefits we have is that when people move from a venue that's using Creventa to somewhere else, one of the things they'll do is to say, you need to be using Creventa. Yeah. Which is great. Yeah. So that reference market, but it's still, how do you get in front of people? It's always a challenge. Challenge for any salesperson, but we're selling quite a niche product. So, it's always a challenge.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So thanks so much, Luke. This has been brilliant. Thanks again for coming on. Wish you every success for the coming year. I'm sure you're going to storm it.
Great. Fantastic. Cool.